Students, in lesson 11.3, we're going to be talking and working with quadrilaterals. Our essential question for this lesson is, how can you classify and compare quadrilaterals? So we're going to start with the real world and lock the problem. A seating chart for a baseball field has many four-sided figures or quadrilaterals. Which type of quadrilaterals can you find in the seating chart? There are 5 special types of quadrilaterals. You can classify quadrilaterals by their properties, such as parallel sides and perpendicular sides. Parallel lines, and I'm going to underline this because it's really important, are lines that are always the same distance apart. Perpendicular lines are lines that are intersected to form a right angle. So we're going to complete the sentence that describes each type of quadrilateral. So, a general quadrilateral that has 4 sides and 4 angles would look like this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. Now we're going to go into the next type of quadrilateral. A rectangle is a special parallelogram with blank 4 right angles, and so if we count them, there's how many right angles? 4 right angles. And there are also four pairs of perpendicular sides. Now we're going to go over here on the side and we're going to talk about a parallelogram. Parallelogram has opposite sides. So let's look at this side. This side is parallel to that side, and this side is parallel to that side. So that opposite sides that are congruent. When they're congruent, they have the same measure. And next, a rhombus is a special parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. And if we look at this one, each of these have 1 mark, so there's 4 congruent sides. Next, we have a square, which is a special parallelogram. We see that a square has 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. And lastly, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. This side over here is parallel to this side, meaning those 2 lines will move in the same direction and that they will never touch. So the types of quadrilaterals that you find in the seating chart of the field are parallelograms, rectangles, rhombus, square, and trapezoid. Next, we're going to work on an activity. So what we'll need for this activity are our scissors and quadrilaterals. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to be drawing these figures in. So it says, you can use a Venn diagram to sort quadrilaterals to find out how they are related. It says, draw the diagram below on your math board. Cut out the quadrilaterals and sort them into the Venn diagram. Record your work by drawing each figure you have placed in the Venn diagram below. So, we have our quadrilaterals. So all of these shapes fall under the quadrilaterals. However, we have parallelograms and we have trapezoids. So when we talk about this, we can complete our graphic organizer and then complete our sentences on the side. So I'm going to use these as our 2 examples of parallelograms. My drawings are not the most beautiful, but that's okay. Yours will look a little bit better because you're using a straight edge and I can't use that during the videos. So this would be an example of a square, 2 different types of squares. Also, rectangles, this could be one type of a rectangle. This could be another type of a rectangle. Rhombuses are the ones that have, redraw that one. Rhombuses are the ones that have 4 congruent sides. So all of these sides are congruent. And what we would do is we would place in this side a trapezoid, which has 2 lines that are parallel. This line is parallel to that line because they run in the same direction. And we could draw an irregular one because this line is parallel to that line. Also on the side, what we could do is to draw quadrilaterals. These would be examples of quadrilaterals, but they wouldn't be the special types of quadrilaterals which we've been studying in this lesson. So now we're going to complete the sentences by writing always, sometimes, or never. So a rhombus is a blank. A rhombus is sometimes a square. So if we look at our rhombuses, they are sometimes squares, and that's where our union is here in the middle. They're not always squares because you can see that these lines are slightly slanted, so they're not always. A parallelogram is sometimes a rectangle. Now if we look at our parallelograms, we have 2 examples of parallelograms that are not rectangles, but sometimes they are. A rhombus is always a parallelogram. And what we can do is when we look at our rhombuses over here, we see that they always have opposite sides that are parallel. Next, a trapezoid is never a parallelogram. We can see that the trapezoid are down here in this graphic organizer. They're never considered a parallelogram. And next we have a square is always a rhombus because a square will always have 4 congruent sides. It says 1. Explain why the circle for parallelograms does not intersect with the circle for trapezoids. So what we could say is a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides. A trapezoid has only and exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. Next, it says draw a quadrilateral with 4 pairs of perpendicular sides and 4 congruent sides. Boys and girls, I want you to refer to this diagram and this that we used, and I want you to try to attempt to draw your own quadrilateral with 4 pairs of perpendicular sides and 4 congruent sides.